It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag Utah Jazz.
It is the final home game of the season for the Utah Jazz tonight. The Oklahoma City Thunder are in town, the best in the West against the worst in the West. Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, John Collins out. Isaiah Collier, questionable with a hamstring injury. 80 down, 2 to go for everybody in the NBA, PK. It's all over almost here. The last home game. Are you going to wipe away a tear? Feeling a little sad? The passage of time. It's another milestone.
Not this particular season, no. I mean, it's been tough. Maybe for Dan Roberts, who this will be the last time he'll say, bring him out there, how about then, Jazz, or whatever. I don't remember exactly what he says, but we all know. He's been doing it literally every game, virtually. I mean, he may have missed a few along the way. But every year, and this is it for him. So from that perspective, a little bit, yeah.
Yep. Tip-off tonight at 7:30. Pre-game at 6:30. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
Shot. Cunningham fires. Cunningham hits. It's a three. So calm.
38 points.
109-99.
Halliburton sets another three.
Oh!
Edwards spins away from Pippen, pops on a right side three, and hits again! Unbelievable! Anthony Edwards, his 7th three of the night. He's got 44 points, and the Wolves lead 111-92.
I knew a little bit before everybody, and he told me like we made a decision, so it was not discussion, it was decision. He told me why, and so I listened and I accepted. You know, it's I'm not going to tell what he told me. I'm going to keep that private.
That is Nikola Jokic right there saying he learned about Malone's firing before anyone else. But for a guy who's, it's not his native language, PK, but he knows to say it was not a discussion. I was notified of a decision. I didn't do it. Go yell at that guy over there.
So he knew before Malone?
That could be. I mean, he knew before it was announced to public. I don't know who was told first, if he was told first.
Well, you said he knew before anybody else.
He knew before the public knew. He was told individually. He didn't find out from a group announcement. I mean, he didn't know before the owners knew. They did it.
Right. I mean, I understand that, obviously. I don't know what difference it makes, whatever. This is a business, man. Malone was going to get fired at some point. He's been fired before. He'll probably get fired again.
Light night in the NBA. The Hawks beat the Nets 133-109. The number one overall pick, Zachary Risachet, dropped 38 points. A year from now, will we be saying the Jazz number one overall pick dropped 38 points?
I want to say the Jazz number one pick helped the team lead to a
win, regardless. Yeah. NBA season will end Sunday. When we come back Monday, it'll all be set. We'll have the playoff matchups, the play-in matchups. It'll all be ready to roll. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Trout to the right field corner. This one is deep. Mangum's at the wall. It is gone! Just inside the short porch and right, Mike Trout has an opposite field homer. The Angels have hit 3 in the inning, and it's 7-1.
As Stephen Kwan digs in the pitch. Kwan with a drive, deep right field. This has got a chance. Gone! So Stephen Kwan with a single and now a 2-run home run to right. And the Guardians have a 4-1 lead.
Well, 1 to Ozuna. Swung on and crushed. Deep left field. Kepler going back. Here comes some late night dynamite here at Truist Park. A walk-off home run by Marcell Ozuna. And the Braves win the game and the series. That was smoked to deep left by Marcell. And the Braves won it 4-2 in 11 innings.
The Braves get the W 4-2. They were off to a terrible start, and it's going a little better for them now. And Ronald Acuna Jr. will have his knee reevaluated next week. Maybe they'll get some good news about him and get him back, PK. Get an extra bat in the lineup.
Yeah, he's a player. Obviously, he's had injuries, a significant number of injuries the last few years, so getting him back most definitely would help.
3-9 start for the Braves. Are you buying the Angels? We heard the home run in there from Mike Trout, and the Angels win 11-1, and the Angels are off to an 8-4 start. They have not had a winning season in about a decade now. Could this be the year?
I'd love to see it for Trout, but I don't know. I mean, baseball, the season is the great equalizer.
Angels had 4 home runs eventually in that 5th inning as they beat the Rays 11-1. Also in there, you heard the Guardians beating the White Sox 6-1. The Bees beat the Reno Aces last night 6-3. They host Reno again tonight at 6:35 with the on-deck circle beginning at 6:20. It'll be on 102.7, and it will be streaming. DJ and PK.
Hashtag BYU.
After much speculation and rumor, BYU has landed former Baylor guard Rob Wright. It was out there yesterday. The official news, I guess, broke late yesterday. Monteverde Academy, #1 point guard in the recruiting cycle, all Big 12 freshman at Baylor, and he's coming to BYU. Lose 1 point guard to the NBA, plug in the Big 12 freshman of the year. Times have changed, but under the new rules, BYU's setting themselves up pretty well, apparently, here for next season.
Yeah, they're not the highest bidder, apparently, but they got a conference member's point guard to come to them, and it didn't seem like when Yegor was talking about it and Kevin Young was sitting to his left, that Young didn't seem all that concerned. So I think he might have known something was up. Hey. Not only that, they lost Dallin Hall and Crawford, so they lost the 3 that were on their roster.
But there was a certain amount of poise there. Made you think the work had been done.
I think he probably had a good idea, and BYU wants to tell us about money, and it's not that. But then you got Dan Wolken, USA Today national columnist, never the highest bidder. Come on, man.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah.
Alex Jensen has added a new member to his staff at Utah, Eric Daniels, an assistant coach. The news broke late during our show yesterday. He's been a college assistant for the last 10 years at Weber State and most recently at Utah State under Jared Calhoun. His dad, Donnie Daniels, longtime assistant at Utah, UCLA, and Gonzaga, also the head coach at Cal State Fullerton. So it's not exactly the band getting back together again, but there is a whiff of the 90s in the air, PK.
Yeah, and this has been in the works for 2 weeks, and so it came to pass. I was told he got a little bit of a raise, and so he's coming down to where his father coached and was an integral part of some really, really good teams. And Eric's been around the state for a while. I think this is his 3rd school. I think if I remember, I believe he was with Pope at UVU. And then Utah State, and now Utah. So he's got some connections that he's made along the way, and go help him bring in some players.
Yeah. I don't know all the details on this. Maybe it will become clear later. Maybe it won't. And maybe this is more
it's a
trend than a rule. But remember the talk about, as an assistant, can you bring a player or can you bring NIL money? Now, maybe everybody isn't subject to that, but it does seem to be a trend. So maybe we'll see how that plays out.
Well,
it does.
The thing that I had heard for Utah is that Alex is saving the big money for the NBA guys. And the other guys, like Daniels, wouldn't be getting the big money that's available for the assistant coaching pool, or an assistant coaching pool. I mean, it means GM, director of player ops. They got all these titles now.
The whole staff.
Yeah, so maybe staff instead of assistants. But the word being that he's looking to pay more money, the most money that he has available, to guys with NBA backgrounds.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag RSL.
Real Salt Lake at Nashville tomorrow. Game kicks off at 6:30. RSL coming off the home win. Chance to get a win on the road, maybe get back to 4-4 on the season, and put a little bit of a streak together. Pablo doesn't, and he'll join us. He's scheduled to join us later this morning at 8:30. Pablo doesn't usually make a lot of lineup changes coming off a win, and they got a shutout victory. So I would think no obvious health issues out there. I think there's a pretty good chance it'll be the same 11, and if not, it'll be pretty close to the same 11 for the game in Nashville tomorrow. 5:30 pregame show, kickoff at 6:30. Royals, who are also trying to get back to 500, host the Thorns tonight at America First Field in Sandy. That one gets underway at 8, and you'll hear the game on 1280 The Zone. Pregame at 7:30. DJ and PK.
Hashtag golf.
Birdie putt from 6 feet through his own shadow, should move down toward the pond in front of this green. He starts it left, it breaks right into the center, and that is workmanlike for Justin Rose. He has got a feel for Augusta National, at least on Thursday. He's up to 7 under now, and he leads by 3.
And Justin Rose ends up at 7 under with a 3-shot lead over Corey Connors, Scotty Scheffler, and Ludwig Oberg. They are all in a group at 4 under. Tony Finau tied for 62nd at 3 over. PK, there was some shot making yesterday, some long putts going in, and guys holding out from the fairway. Entertained by the opening round, obviously a long way to go.
Always, yeah. Absolutely, man.
Fred Couples breaking par at 65.
At 65, yeah.
But had to make a putt from 48 feet and had to hole out for eagle from the fairway from 191 yards. He had the magic going, at least for one day.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what today brings, and still a long, long way to go.
Justin Rose has had first-round leads before. He's never won there, but he's had a couple of second-place finishes. So Bob Casper will join us at 9:05, and we'll get an update from the Masters later this morning.
I always felt like it would be cool to be Justin Rose, because probably not a lot of people know who he is, and he can walk anywhere in this country and probably wouldn't get noticed all that much, except by the hardcore golfer. But he's really good, and he's made a great living playing golf. Who wouldn't? I would love that.
Yeah. Won a U.S. Open.
Right.
Had a great career. 44 years old now, I think, so getting near the end of the career, but you're right, it's been an awesome run. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NHL.
Kerfoot for Bukestad, below the goal line, sharp angle shot, he scores! Nick Bukestad lifts the lid on Delta Center, and it's 1-0. Doan, far side, shot McBain, off the post, rebound, score! A pinball goal for Josh Doan, and Utah leads it by 2 here at home. Bunting feeds the middle, off a stick, saved by Mamelka, rebound O'Reilly, he scores! 3 straight for Nashville, and the Preds are in front for the first time tonight. Gunther feeds it across, tap, turns the net, rebound loose, and they score! The future is now! Keller, Cooley, Gunther combining to tie the game. And there's the birthday boy.
And the Utah Hockey Club goes into overtime, eventually loses in a shootout. They blow a 2-zip lead, they blow the 3-2 lead, and Nashville gets out with the 2 points. Utah does pick up 1 point, 85 on the year. They're already eliminated, PK, but I think as we look around for where they're going to find another 10 points so that they're in a playoff spot on 95 or maybe even a little better than that, how they handle the teams below them in the standings, and do they protect leads, especially at home? This is kind of a familiar story here. You were talking Seattle was just in, and they lost to Seattle a couple times. They've now lost to Nashville a couple times. They're dropping points to teams below them in the standings and giving up leads at home. A couple of easy boxes, or at least pretty straightforward boxes, maybe it's not that easy, to check if they're going to be better next year.
Yeah, I think that comes with consistency. I think the word you're looking for to sum it all up is be more consistent.
Yep.
Do what you're capable of doing more often.
That was the last home game. Now they head out on the road for 3 and the end of the season, including here in a couple days, another matchup with Nashville. That is what is trending. It's brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. David Locke, radio voice of the Jazz, coming up at 8. Pablo Mastroeni, RSL head coach, at 8:30. And Bob Casper live from the Masters at 9 o'clock. That's all ahead this morning. We got Bees tickets to give away to go see Reno tomorrow. We'll do that coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. 8:30 for the Bees tickets. And next, it is the question of the day. Stay with us.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G.
It's what you want.
You know, I was babysat until 8th grade. Dolores Arnold used to babysit me every day after school. And
Dolores?
her husband, yeah.
Look, you got like 220-pound 8th grade hands.
Can we not focus on that?
You walk in like, hey, Dolores. Hi, Hans. I think it's funny the thought of a 8th grade Hans Olsen probably pushing 2 bills, sitting in and being babysat.
You guys let me know when you're done so I can finish my story.
Tell us more about Dolores.
Anyways, her husband, Don, liked MASH.
Sit next to Don on the couch watching MASH.
Hey, Don, can I borrow your shaver?
Catch Hans and Scotty weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The guys you know and trust, talking about the teams you can't live without. This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it is 97.5 The Zone. It is time for the question of the morning. And the Utah Jazz are playing their final home game. This is it. Game number 41. The season comes to a close here, and then they will regroup and try again next year. So, for the last home game of the season, you interested? You in or you out? And Don says, if you give me some lower bowl seats, I'd go.
Yeah.
So, he's in if it's free and he's there. Meanwhile, Eldon, no. Steve, nada. Gordon, nope. And Jim says, no, I actually turned down tickets to a suite. Yeah, I don't think I'd do that. I would take the tickets to a suite. My immediate response when I saw this from you, PK, was, no, I'm not really interested. But then when you say free suite tickets, like, you're probably hanging out with some people you know, meeting some new people, the game's going on, you see the rookies, the second-year guys, at least most of them. Collier's questionable, so maybe you don't see him. We are getting shout-outs for Filipowski. Steal of the draft, I would go just to watch him. So, some people, and Matt says that. He's all about Flip.
A Flipper, yeah, obviously, man. You know, he's got length, he's got a shot, has pedigree, played at Duke. They normally don't recruit anything but real big talent, so you got all that going on for you. What does it mean? I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I asked Locke about this, and he knows way more about it than I do. Could you trade Marketing and insert Flipper? I'm not saying he is as good or better, but the thought being you're trying to compile a team, so you need all these pieces of the puzzle. So if you could trade Marketing for a really good player at another position or a couple of quality players, and then you put in Filipowski, what can he do? And Locke kind of shot it down immediately. He wasn't really interested in hearing about it. It's like, well, no, I haven't seen anything like that yet and all that stuff. So now he goes for 30 the other night, and it's against a watered-down Portland team. I mean, I understand that, but still, he goes for 30, and he's had some really good games in terms of shooting, some bad games too, but that's to be expected. I get that you're not playing in the NBA Finals and all, but to those guys, it means the world. So they're trying as hard as they can. And who's to say there isn't something there? Right now, it does look like a great pick. I don't think you can argue that. What it means when the team gets good, if he's around and all that, you can't really say. But I do think there's something there. And if somebody wants to go watch him play, I get that. To me, a night out. If somebody gave you free tickets and it's a night out, particularly if you don't go to 10, 15 games out of the year. There's some people, I have a friend who goes to a lot of games, and it's mostly for business reasons, right? The company's got a suite. He goes, they bring clients, and so you're entertaining them, you're in sales and you're schmoozing them while the game is being played. So that might not be a big deal for somebody like that. And there's plenty of people that is the situation. They go under those circumstances. But for Joe Blow and his wife, who don't have a lot of money and can't go to all these games, maybe that's something that they could do. Why wouldn't you want to do that and get out? And if you look at it from that perspective, it could just be a fun night. But if you want to go and see somebody in specific, even better.
Yeah. As somebody who grew up rooting for bad teams and went to 10 Padre games a year roughly, it was always exciting, even if it wasn't a great pitching matchup, because you got to go. And so I was pumped. So I think you're right. If you go and you don't get to go very often, or if you get to go with somebody you're friends with who doesn't get to go very often, then it's a treat no matter what. It's still the event. It's a show. Go see the show.
Yeah. And maybe you could get in on the whole thing like, hey, I was there. I saw these kids when they were rookies. Yeah. I mean, how about the statues? Did you see them? Did you go then? I mean, the Jazz, I assume, are more popular now than they were then, but they still, they had been in the city for 5 or 6 years or something along those lines by the time Stockton came along.
They'd been a playoff team. Right.
Did you see something there? Did you think that, hey, wow, man, this kid, who's this little white dude out of Gonzaga? I didn't know much about him, didn't play in the NCAA tournament, but boy, I could tell. And I had no idea. He's shocked. I'm still shocked. He grew up, so to speak, to be one of the greatest of all time. Blah blah blah. Did you notice that? And so, or maybe you're just a hardcore fan, man. And it sucks that they're losing, but I'm a hardcore fan. And I love the brand, and I'm going to root for the brand no matter if they're 66 and 16 or whatever they are, 17 now, or it's reversed. I'm in, and I believe that there's going to be better times. And this is one of the growing times of growing pains. We've been here before and gotten out of it. It's not like, and I realize this cast of characters is new now in terms of ownership and management, but still, this has happened. We've gotten out. It's just a question of how long it lasts, and the good times will come. And if you go through struggles and you get good times, somehow that tastes even more sweet, or sweeter, I should say, because you went through the process. So there's all sorts of factors that go into it, man.
Well, we definitely see those takes from people on the Jazz topics that we get over the last few weeks and months. As since it was clear before the All-Star break, but it's been really bleak since the All-Star break. But nonetheless, those people you talk about are there, the people who want the night out and who root for the brand no matter what. And I think there is also a big chunk of people listening to us who want to fast forward to May 12th and find out, are you picking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it's going to be. Find that out and then start figuring out, okay, if it's the fourth pick, rank your top 4. If it's the first pick, well, then you just celebrate Cooper Flagg and you're waiting for the draft and maybe to find out what they do with their other picks.
Yeah, I think May 12th is the most important date of the season. The extension of the season.
Find out where you're picking and zero in on who you might get.
I mean, the NBA season is still in full throttle on May 12th. You're not participating, But the heart of the playoffs is, you're probably at that point well into the second round. So NBA basketball is still on sports fans' minds, maybe more so than ever, because the regular season sort of drags on and the playoffs are where it's at. So with all that in mind, that day is crucial to the fate of the future of the franchise. I don't see how you can argue that. That becomes the day. It's like, did you pass the bar? Did you get the job? Whatever it might be. Do you get, if you want to go gruesome, did you get the diagnosis from the doctor on something extremely serious? Whatever it might be. Well, that's real life. I know you like to just have happy talk, but that's real life. And all this is the fate of the franchise. I can't say it'll be decided, but it could go a long way to determine the future success and the timeline of the future success. We'll have a better idea of what we can look forward to, I think, depending on how it shakes out.
Well,
it's obviously
number
you
one,
get the number one pick. You know who you're going. You know who you're going. And I think you're going 2 or 3. You probably have a really good idea.
I was going to say it's 100% if they get the number 1 pick, and it's probably 99%. You got to allow for the 1% that Danny Ainge doesn't see the world the way everybody else does. But man, Dylan Harper is a unanimous number 2 in mock drafts. I don't know the last time I saw a mock draft where he wasn't number 2. It's been flag 1, Harper 2. You get down to 3, there seems to be a little more intrigue. Some people still think it's Harper's Rutgers teammate Ace Bailey, but other people have been really impressed with DJ Edgecombe. So who knows how the Jazz see that. So depending on what number, the Jazz pop up at, maybe we'll have a discussion, debate, intrigue, speculation, or maybe it'll just be write it in ink and let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah, he saw Jason Tatum in a manner that people didn't see, and he was right.
Mm-hmm.
And indisputable that he was absolutely right, 100%. So we got to wait to get there. What's that? What's today? The 11th? We got a month and a day for that to have happen. They get the number 1. I think that Cooper Flagg is a franchise changer. I really believe that. I'm not saying he'll just change the franchise overnight because I don't know that happens. That seems impossible to have happen that quick. But Cooper Flagg will, if they get the number 1 pick, and you can argue even the 2nd or 3rd pick, whoever that player is will be with the Jazz for the maximum allowable years before he hits free agency and can go wherever he wants. And that's upward of almost a decade. So we're looking into getting into, like 2034 before something can happen. Or obviously they could trade him ahead of time like they did with Mitchell. But I think that's something that could be there. That player will be there and be an integral part. And when we get to that part, I'm not one of these dudes who say, oh, yeah, he's going to leave. No, he may leave, but I'm not thinking it's just a guarantee because they got this young, hip owner. They put rappers on the front row, and they're trying to be all hip and redoing downtown and all these things that are going on. And the way they're going to treat them, you're not going to, my assumption is, and I think it's an easy assumption, you're not going to be treated any better with any other franchise than you are right here. So you got all that stuff going on for you. So I'm not going to say that, forget that, whoever comes in is out the door the first chance he gets down the line. I don't buy that at all. And we'll see how that plays out. It's an extremely important day, and it can set the tone. Because you have to, in this situation, you have to hit on multiple drafts over the course of, obviously, multiple years. And, they've hit pretty good in 24. 23, okay, but the unfortunate injury to Hendricks has stalled the evaluation of it. And this past year's draft, the lack of progression by Cody Williams, to an extent, mars the development of Filipowski and Collier. If Cody Williams had played as well or shown as much, it's probably a better way of saying it, as Collier and Filipowski, then we'd be thinking the 24 draft was a smash. But because their top picks in both of those drafts haven't shown much, Hendricks obviously because, in large part, the injury, Williams, he's just not physically ready. I can't jump up and down and say, man, those were two really good drafts. I can. I don't think you can either. I think that's the sentiment of most people, is you can't get super excited about that draft because of the circumstances of Hendricks with the injury and Williams not really showing the development that you wanted, knowing that the bar was pretty low, and he did not even reach that bar. But on the other hand, the other two guys, the bar was, you can argue, was even lower, and I think both of them cleared that bar.
The 24 draft, when you have 3 picks, I never would expect anyone to hit on 3 out of 3 picks. I would expect you to hit, if you have a good draft, you hit on 2 out of 3. And it does look like they hit on that. But because you had a lottery pick each year, you'd like to think if you have a lottery pick, you're getting a starter. You're going to get somebody who can start for you. And they don't obviously have that. And I suppose if you get the starter at 20 or 30, whatever, and not earlier, maybe you can rationalize that if that lottery pick isn't too good. You know, when you miss on the 3rd pick, it's just really hard to rationalize that. That's too good. You get out picking, back half of the lottery, maybe you can rationalize it. I don't know that they have a starter yet. Maybe they do. Maybe Filipowski or Collier will end up being that long-term starter. And then you could, grade the draft a little higher. Right now, it looks like they're guys who can stick in the NBA for a long time. But do they stick in the NBA as starters or as role guys off the bench? That's not clear. So I don't think you can really say that was a great draft until you have a starter. Could be a pretty good draft, but it's not a great draft. And maybe we'll be able to say that.
But it's incomplete, though. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is yet.
You're right. Which isn't surprising, given they're only 1 and 2 years in, and they're drafting 19-year-olds. So to say, hey, at 3 years we'll have a better idea what they have, well, we're not there yet. Kessler, end of the 3rd year, we got a better idea what they have. He looks like he can start in the NBA for a long time.
I don't necessarily know that the 9th or 10th pick has to be a starter. I want him to be a player, because if I got a player and he's not a starter, well, that means I got 2 players.
Well, if your team's that good, and you got the 6th man of the year running around, I can't complain about that.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, Jordan Clarkson was a good trade, but he's never really been a starter, and he was. Now he's playing out the string on a bad team. But when the team was good, and the team was good when he got 6th man of the year, and that was something, And those were great times, relatively speaking, compared to now. I mean, you had and Joe was they don't give out a 7th man, but they were neck and neck for that. So, I get your point. I would just alter it just a slight bit to have if a guy's playing 25 to 30 minutes on a good team, that's good enough for me.
He's playing starter minutes. You're right.
Yeah.
If he's playing starter minutes, I do not care about the starting designation. If the guy's coming off the bench, he's playing 25 or 30 minutes, and he's closing games, and he's a good player, that's a win.
Yeah. And right now, with those two, we have, I believe, nothing more than trust that management knew what they were doing, because we don't have even a hint of results. The reasons why they were drafted is because of their athleticism, their height, their length, all that stuff. Both those players still have that. They just have no on-court production yet to back it up.
Time will tell. Gives us a storyline for next season. DJ and PK, we got to take a break right now. David Locke will talk more Jazz coming up at 8 o'clock. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
May I present?
This is JJ and Alex.
Speaking of hockey, that win over the Winnipeg Jets, I was just floored. And we're getting these tweets from Sly during the game because he got his.
Who had a great time.
Because then he's sending us the Jets suck like text during the middle of it was the end of the second period and they're up 3-0. I was like, no, they don't. They're the best team in hockey, and that's the part that makes you feel good about this team. It was such an exceptional game by this team, and it was so fun to watch. Coach Tourney actually told us this at one point during the last couple weeks. He goes, we're a way different team than this team faced a month ago.
Yeah.
Right? And he said it about a couple of times when they would get these wins that people are like, oh, wow, that was unexpected. It's like, no, they're a better team now. They've become a better team over the season. And so it's awesome to see these young guys getting the recognition that they deserve.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Take DJ and PK wherever you go. Find every moment of every show in podcast form by searching DJ and PK on your favorite platform. This is DJ and PK on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. The band of the day today is Nirvana. Today's the 11-year anniversary of Nirvana being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. For all the live concerts and events in 2025, check out livenation.com. Well, PK, here's a topic that came up at the end of yesterday's show, but for the early risers, let us get you up to speed. Church Education Commissioner Clark Gilbert, engage in NIL competitively, but never the highest bidder. Meanwhile, BYU booster Paul Lillenquist, you're not going to outbid us. Who's telling the truth? And we have some of the back and forth. Michael, the church and the boosters are different. Boosters may not get outbid, and that's not the church paying the athlete. That's one. George, who cares? Go Cougs. Case, I love sports, but no comment should be made because we, the public, we, the church members, don't believe a word of it. I don't care if it's the highest or not. What you are paying is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's something to be said. It's ridiculous, but, how is it any more ridiculous than somebody who's receiving $50 million to play NBA basketball? That's just as ridiculous. So let's make sure we understand that so much of what the amount of money that is available for pro sports is ridiculous. Juan Soto, what he signed with the Mets is ridiculous, right?
Well, you could just go to entertainment. I mean, the amount of money people say for shows, for concerts, for games, and those are major industries fueled by people writing really big
right,
checks.
But that's not in your face all the time. It's not.
Well,
I mean, you go see a Tom Cruise movie, and then you're not going to go see a Tom Cruise movie for who knows how long. Whereas you see these guys 35 times a season in college, or 82, or whatever it might be. So I get your point, but that's somehow more acceptable. And so many of these people, especially on the management side, they got their foot in the door because the door was flung wide open because their fathers were in it. And so they're able to do what the rest of us can't do because we don't have the door flung open for us. So it's a different animal here with sports, even though it's the same. I understand that. And we are talking to sports fans. Obviously, we're a sports station. So hopefully that's who we're talking to every single day. And hundreds of thousands of them per segment is what I like to think. But BYU is trying hard to downplay it, and I don't think it's working. Because the
I don't think it's close to working. I think it's
even if it's
a
true.
issue.
If it what did you say?
I think it's making it a bigger issue. I think you're right. They're trying to downplay it, but I don't think there's any downplaying it. I think it's so different. Whether it's right or it's wrong, whether you find it acceptable, tolerable, or unacceptable, wherever, it's like it's new and it's different, and that it's kind of the definition of news. That's what gets our attention when something new and different. Hey, look at that! That's new. This is new. I don't know if everybody's talking about it, but a lot of people are talking about it because it's so different. And to say it's not happening or to try to downplay it is silly. It's ridiculous. And people are always going to talk about how much money somebody else makes. It doesn't matter if it's sports, if it's business, if your neighbor puts some big addition on their house, if somebody takes a vacation the other side of the world. This stuff always gets referenced. I don't see how you can possibly downplay it. Why even bother to try?
Well, because I think they're connected to a church, and they feel like they have to. They have to make sure I think it's multiple reasons. You got to appease the membership, and you got to appease the leadership in Salt Lake that we're not just a sports factory here. And once we do this, we've flung open the doors. And then what else are we going to do? We're going to start overlooking some honor code transgressions. We're going to start overlooking academic transgressions, and we're just going to become a professional sports factory. That's not what the mission is at. So I see why they're doing what they're doing. It's just the quote of "you will not outbid us" is trailing them, and they can't shake it. And they wish that quote, and that's literally, I've been told this, they wish that quote had never been said. And the booster was flexing his metaphoric muscles on this when he said that. And it's an easy quote to remember. It's not cumbersome. You will not outbid us. Everybody can remember that. And they're trying to downplay that as much as possible because it's a religious institution. And it's unsavory for a religious institution, which essentially BYU is to a large degree, sponsored by the church. We know all that. It just doesn't look, the appearance is not good, the root of evil, money, and all this stuff. And I agree with them. I mean, we understand that the collective does what it does, and it's not coming from BYU. It's not coming from tithing, but nobody really cares about that. The money that the player gets is attracted to the school. That's not unique, attached to the school, I should say. That's not unique to BYU. That's across the board. So they're trying to downplay all that because they're a church-sponsored institution. It's just that quote, "if you will not outbid us," resonates, and people don't forget that, and they're trying to act like that didn't happen. And Kevin Young does have an outstanding culture and a great program that he's built in a short time, so it is not exclusively for money that kids are coming. They're coming for other reasons, and a large part is to be part of Kevin Young's program. So BYU is right when they say that.
And I get all that, but even if we didn't have that quote, we would understand the truth of that quote because the Big 12 Freshman of the Year is coming, because the presumptive number one pick in the draft is coming, because a guy just came from halfway around the world who they normally wouldn't have gotten, and another potential lottery pick didn't turn out that way because they didn't play that well, and they're, things sometimes break against you. But they had two super high-profile guys last year. So even if the booster never said you're not going to outbid us, those four players, two in each year, tell us they're not getting outbid. They're not. They got the guys. And
you're right.
This is the ecosystem they're playing in, so it's happening. Now, to your point, the quote is out there, and it is memorable, and it is very simple and to the point. So it summarizes everything we're seeing in an instant, and people can hold on to it. So I get the quote does have some life of its own, but we can see what's happening because it's happening over and over and over. But they didn't get in the Big 12 to get beat like a drum. So I don't know what – once you decide to go into the Big 12, you got to play by the rules in the Big 12.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. When we come back, David Locke joins us. The final home game of the year. We can do a little looking back at the year and a little looking ahead to what he thinks is next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.